Welcome everyone who's joining us. This is 22 Sierra Coffee's 22 Minutes. I'm going to give you a little background. We're going to start this now with just kind of like an intro, if you will, and then we're going to go into an interview with our guest. So 22 Sierra Coffee Company was founded by veterans with a passion for helping fellow veterans and first responders. Our goal is to raise awareness to the mental health issues faced by veterans and first responders and to raise money for these individuals. So together, we decided that we were going to help people out and enjoy coffee at the same time. I view these episodes as a chance to have a public conversation. So many of you guys might know, maybe you don't know, I run 21 Gun Podcast, and I started it just to have conversations because a long time ago I was watching Joe Rogan and there was a fella on there named Andrew Marr. I heard that story, changed my life, and then Andrew and I ended up becoming really good friends. So once that happened, I said I'm going to try to pay it forward and have these conversations. So if just one person is reached, just one person is reached. Let me see if our guest is ready. Tonight we have Matt Tardio. He's an Army veteran of 16 years. 9 of those he was in the infantry. 7 of those he was in the Special Forces. He deployed to Iraq, East Africa, Afghanistan, and a little country called Ukraine. You guys might know about that country right now. After his medical retirement, he spent 2 years as a Colorado police officer. He's currently a range master at Battle Springs Ranch. He's the co-host of Speak the Truth podcast. I watched it. We see eye to eye to on a lot of things. And he's currently shooting a reality TV show called The Save. I tried looking that up. It's all like pre-production sort of stuff. So I'm not sure what that is all about, and he is going to explain that to us. So any minute now, we should have him hopping on. Until then, let's see what we have down in the comments. We got Dave Cascante. Hey, Dave, how you doing? James Cooper Cole. Wait, is it James Cooper Cole? Probably that. Jeanette, hello. I wonder if... Yep, there he is. 22 Sierra J. I don't know what that means. JLU? That's Patrick over on his other account. So you guys can go over there and follow that and check out his Jeep pictures. Things coming up. March is going to be a very busy month for us. We're going to be working on a lot of projects. We'll be very excited to announce them. So stay tuned for that. We have our loyalties program now. Anger Tab joined. That's our guy. All right, Anger Tab, ask to, yeah, there you go. You know it better than I do. I said accept. What happened? Okay, accept. There he is.
Hey, sorry, I was just finishing up dinner, my friend.
It's okay. It's okay. Where are you located?
I'm right outside of Dallas right now.
Funny. I will be down in the Texas area 2 weeks, something like 2 weeks, with a bunch of your brethren. My buddy's doing I forget what the name of the event. It's 4x4x48, 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. It's a David Goggins thing.
Ooh, that would be rough.
Yeah. I was training up for it, but I got COVID, then I got an injury. Yeah, this is all my excuses. These are Air Force excuses. And, I wanted to sleep in while I was down there. So I'm going just to be medical with him. And we'll give him a little plug that he's down there with Warrior Angels Foundation out of Houston, the Houston area. So I'm looking forward to that. All right. So I always forget to pull this up. I am a guy by the numbers. So we're going to pull up the timer, clock, and we're going to set 22 minutes because that's just the way I am. All right. So let's start with the very, very beginning.
Sure.
Why did you join the military?
My brother and I, I remember, so I got a brother that's about 13 months older than I.
Okay.
And I remember laying in bed with him. Well, we had bunk beds.
Right.
And I remember laying around with him in the middle of the night and being like, I don't know why. I just, I was like 5 years old and I just been like, I just kind of want to join the military when I get older. I don't know what it is. I just want to do it. But yeah, it's the weirdest thing, it's like Santa Claus and the military. It was like our 2 topics of discussion laying in bed.
Right.
And so I always just had this internal drive of that's what I wanted to do. And so I talked to him about it. My older brother, Travis, and then my older brother, Joey, the one I was just talking about, and myself, and also my older sister, Angela. We all ended up joining the military. Right?
Oh, really?
I was the only one that turned it into a career, but yeah.
How about did you have like a family history of it? Dad, grandpa, anyone like that?
Absolutely not. No, dude, it was the weirdest thing. It was just like my generation of the family. We just all decided to go for the gusto. And
Wow.
even my older brother David, even though my eldest brother David, there were six of us all together.
Hmm.
My eldest brother David, even though he didn't join the military, he ended up being a reserve sheriff's deputy at one point in time. My brother Travis is still a law enforcement officer. My sister Andrea, my younger sister, the only one that didn't do any of that, and ended up being a firefighter,
Oh wow.
like a career firefighter. So it's my whole family has devoted their lives to public service. It's the weirdest thing.
I'm big into the idea that there's a DNA aspect there, even though it wasn't your parents and grandparents, but humans have been around for 250,000 years. That's the estimate,
Yeah.
and groups of people have been getting together since then. And you had some that I don't know were really good at making food, others that are good at hunting, and others that were protectors. And I absolutely think that whatever it was, something activated that gene in your. Uh,
I contributed to my mom. Honestly, I think it probably had a lot to do with my mom and how we were raised.
she a mama bear
Just
type of deal.
yeah, very much
Okay.
so. Very much so.
Okay.
And always like try to stick by the do one good deed a day. Don't be a piece of crap. Be a good human. Yeah.
Ah, yeah. Good things
Yep.
to live by. Did you have any? This is super young. Did it just kind of become that thing that you then focused on, like when kids asked you as you went into middle school and high school, "I'm going to be in the military someday"?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I remember doing like high school projects. I remember doing high school projects and then being like one of our projects was you had to basically lay out your budget like you were gonna like a guy and a girl would pair up in class back when that was an okay thing for us to do. And we
Hmm.
would pretend to make a family together and then you would have to write down like your different budgets and they'd make us budget out a family and you'd have to like go over all that. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna be in the milmilitary, so I guess I don't even have to worry about what job it is. I can just look this up. I was like, this is what I'm gonna do.
Nice.
And like
You were like
yeah.
TRICARE.
I was like, I got TRICARE, BAH, BAS, base pay. I'm set. I don't care. Good to
Nice.
go. Yep.
Hey, I'll tell you what. I got medically retired like you, and there's a lot I'm thankful for, but one of them is the price of TRICARE.
Oh,
Insuring
dude.
a family of four, and it's like I have friends that each month it's through the roof, and yeah, that's one of the best benefits out there.
It's so crucial because you don't only get the TRICARE, you also get the dental insurance as well. That
Right.
like when you're retired, that goes on top of it. And the prices that the military has the same. When I was a law enforcement officer, it was actually cheaper to go through the military than it was through the police department
Oh
for the
wow.
exact same coverage. Yeah, it was
Huh.
insane.
How about infantry? Was that just kind of a spin the bottle and that's where it landed, or you just were like, I'm going to do
I
this?
I didn't know what I was doing with. I knew nothing about the military. Of all the dreams and aspirations I had
You
to
didn't pick
go
up
in,
one book?
I did not pick up a single book.
That's
Just like
funny.
shooting guns sounds like fun. So I went in, went out fishing with my old man one day, and we're hanging out on the lake, and I was like, shooting the big guns like artillery sounds like a lot of fun. But I don't know. And he was like, well, with the infantry. I was like, yeah, it sounds good. Sure. Yeah.
My
Yeah.
neighbor up the road, he was a artillery guy. Well, I was going to say he can't hear now, so it's probably a good thing. But every job in the military takes your hearing away. I'm pretty sure of that.
Fact, dude.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're hanging around like loud, like even the diesel engines. I hate the sound of a diesel engine now. Thanks to I don't know about you, but diesel engines just idling drives me up a wall. I
Yeah,
can't stand it. It's like nails on a chalkboard.
I've been gifted with the wonderful ability to hear the diesel engine no matter what time of day I'm trying to sleep at night. I still hear
Hmm.
it. I'm in a meeting. I still hear. That's why they fit these. You're an old guy when you get these in your ears, so you don't hear the
Dude,
screaming from the tinnitus. That
I've been, I've basically been told that I need to go get them, and I think it's about that time.
It's game changer, man. It's not. Now we're starting to sound. We should call the show Two Old Guys Talking About Their Ailments. But I'll tell you what. You pop them in, and then it freaks me out because like all the high notes, like my dog is his leash is scraping across the ground, and I'm like, the hell is that noise? And it's just
Really?
all the high notes that were totally gone for like the last 10 years. I was driving into work and I'm listening to music that I've heard a million times, right? And I'm like, is this a new recording? Is this a different version of it? It's just I could hear all the stuff that I couldn't hear before. It's crazy.
Really?
Yeah,
See,
highly
I just figured
suggested.
it'd be like a set of Peltors. It just blows stuff up and like just makes it louder.
Do you want to?
I
I
didn't know
actually
that.
would. I would have rather that because these are a little. They're subtle, right? Because they don't want to hurt your ears anymore. They're just amplifying the areas where you can't hear. So the frequencies are carrying. Yeah, it really is. And then you can you can set it so like if you go to the restaurant, if it'll block out the people behind you and focus on the people in front of you.
No
Yeah, it's
way.
definitely worth it. Definitely worth it.
Does it turn off kids?
Yeah, no. See, that's the problem because their high pitched voices suddenly get amplified. So you hear them I hear all the kids
I
outside. I'm
love
like
them to death,
Superman.
but yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. So, tell us about your journey into SF.
Yeah, just so well, there was a couple deciding factors that had me go into it, and I think to boil it all down, I got tired of being a pawn, and
Okay.
I had mentally just shut off one day overseas,
Okay.
and I was ready to get out. I had lost a couple buddies, and I was done, you know. And I remember calling home and being like, "Hey, I want to get out. I don't want to be in it anymore. I'm done." And she's like, "Well, you know, we do have kids now, and somebody's got to pay the bills. Like they need health insurance, need coverage. Like, how can you do that?" And I was like, "Well, you know, if I'm going to stay in, then I'm going to do it this way." And that's what happened. So I came back from that trip, and after about a month and a half, you know, I got off of that trip, walked right in the recruiter's office. He's like, "Hey, do you need trained up or anything?" I was like, "Nope, just send me, man. I'll be fine." Fuck it.
So it's total
It's like the
volunteer. Anyone can
yeah,
go to the pre-course or whatever it's called.
yeah. So you have it's all the qualification course, right?
Q
Phase one of
course,
the
right.
qualification course. Phase one of the
Hmm.
Q course is selection, assessment and selection.
Okay.
So you've got to have, it used to be a 110 GT score. Some of my followers are now telling me it's at like 105 or 107, but when I went, it was like a 110.
Okay.
So you got to have a 110 GT score. They want you to score 90% in each category. You should be capable of passing the combat swim test going into it. They won't tell you that, but you're going to get tested on it. So I forget how far it is. It's not that hard. Jump in with
Hmm.
a rifle, flick, get your stuff, and swim. You know, 25 yards, whatever it is. And that's basically the base qualification to get you in there. Yeah, 5 miles under 40 minutes on a run time. I don't remember if there was anything else. 7 pull-ups, I think, 7 or 8 pull-ups, something like that.
Okay.
Nothing too crazy.
Not bad. And then you get a shot at it right
You get
after that.
right, and that is essentially it is what opens the door for you. It's what
Right.
allows you to continue to try, but it doesn't guarantee that is if you just meet those bare minimum standards, obviously you're not going to make it. You know, you have to be capable of exceeding those, and you have to be capable of having a strong mind in order to keep going.
Do they do so when I actually funny story when I was first going to the Air Force, I was going to be the officer version of TAC-P because it was kind of the same
Cool.
thing. I'm like, if I'm going to do this, I want to do cool stuff. And it was
Yeah.
halfway through OCS, we all had to take it was called the BAT test, and just to see if you had the hand-eye coordination and the mental acuity to fly. And I managed to score well on that. So I like middle of the road, I just switched into flying.
Yeah.
But I wanted to go that field because it was the only special operations that didn't have the damn pool.
Oh, dude.
The pool, the Air Force pool, there's great for anyone who's watching, check out on YouTube, the Air Force for the CCTs and the PJs.
Mhm.
It looks terrifying. Do you guys do something similar to that?
You know, I don't know. I haven't seen that one, but
Okay.
yeah, I mean, we've got a combat swim test and all others. I mean, it's
Drown
nothing
proofing and all
crazy.
that?
Like, no, we don't have to do drown proofing.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Now, if you go to a dive team, you will like you'll end up getting drown proofed, but I mean that's part of that. You know,
Sure.
if you end up going to a dive team, but that's something different. So
I like, everyone who goes, they imagine in their head, what would this have been like? What would that have been like? I think well, it's hard to say unless you're there, but I think the one thing which probably would have kept me from going through is if they had that pool, because that's the one thing in my mind. I'm like, you're coming up for air, but someone's splashing you in the face and pushing you back down. I don't know. Maybe I have a phobia that I just don't know about.
I am not a Navy SEAL because I hate the water. Do you know what I
Oh,
mean?
there you go. There you go.
Like out of all the fears I have in life, drowning is it. Like
Yeah.
drowning is my. I don't give a shit. Shoot me, stab me, burn me. I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
But Lord, don't throw me in a swimming pool and ask me to go touch the bottom. I'm not happy with it. I'll do it, but my body doesn't like it. You know, like I'm certified and all that great stuff when it comes to scuba.
Sure.
I hate it. I can't stand it.
Did you guys ever have to do, or this is now, we went from the old man show to the water survival show, but did you have to do any sort of water survival? Like we had in the flying world, we had to, figure out how to take a parachute off in the water and get picked up by a hug. Just kind of learn all those ditching procedures.
Yeah, you do like water jumps and things like that, but then there's also the survival aspect of it. Going through SEER school, which I don't know. That's one of those things that's like a touchy subject, SEER school, of like talking about all that stuff.
Yeah.
There's every single course, I think, in the qualification course, you can get your G2 or you can get your intel on. If you want to know about Robin Sage, you can go get information on Robin Sage. But SEER school is one of those things that we just don't talk about because we want you to experience it on your own.
That's right.
Like, just go, have fun, friend. Go be miserable. You're going to learn. It's going to be good for you.
Hands down, the best training I received in the military. Hands down. I loved it. It sucked, but I liked it.
It was miserable.
Yeah.
I remember going into it and seeing guys that were on their way out, and I'm fixing to go in, and I see really good friends of mine that I'd served with the infantry overseas and been like, hey bro, tell me, give me some information because I'm scared, just the reason you ask, I'm pooping my pants, tell me what I got to do.
That's
and they'd be
funny.
like, nah man, looking at you with a black eye and a bloody nose nah, go get it.
Same exact thing. I remember the stress of trying to get into that and being like, you know what, you're right. I was like, it's gonna happen. So I can't not do it. So just do it and get it over with. And that's really, everything is always, and I assume the SF pipeline probably doesn't fit in this bill, but everything is always, your anticipation makes it worse than it actually is. And so you think to yourself, oh God. And then you finish it and you're like, yeah, that really wasn't that bad. It was, but in hindsight, it's all doable. We do that throughout life, I think.
Sure. There's tons of things that you look at and you say, oh man, this is going to be horrible. And then, you learn mind over matter really quick.
Right.
You really do. And it gives you a whole new perspective on life. Standing in line at a grocery store never bothers me,
Yeah.
I don't care.
That's right. That's the first thing they teach you in the military. Go wait somewhere. Hurry up and wait.
Right. When I came in 03, we waited in line for 2.5 hours just to get chow for one meal. 2.5, 3 hours, just standing in the sun.
You reminded me of another question I like to ask. So your post 9/11, did that have any effect in your desire to serve?
Where was I at? I was in high school on my way in, and my mom had called. I think it amplified it. I don't think it really. It never changed my mind. Just gave me a purpose and a drive, And I think being a junior in high school when 9/11 happened, being a junior in high school, I thought I was going to miss everything. When we went into Iraq, it was I was on my way to MEPS, and I'm like, and being like, damn it, I missed the invasion, I missed the war, because we all looked back at what had happened during the Gulf War.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't last that long. Figured by the time I was out of basic training, I'd never seen that place. Same thing with Afghanistan, but
20 years later,
man, were we wrong. I could go over there right now if I want and get paid for it.
That's right. That's right. That's something that's funny about, I don't think civilians can ever grasp the idea is that, when you're in the training environment, I was the same thing. I was in flight school in 03 when you were in MEPS, and I was watching the invasion and I was like, man, I'm going to miss it. I went to one of my trainers. I think I was in the C-130 school at that point, and I was like, "Do you think they'll still be deploying when I get?" And they're like, dude, don't worry, you'll deploy. In fact, that's all you'll do."
Yeah, I wish somebody would have told me before getting into it, listen, buddy, this isn't going anywhere. Calm down,
right?
And just it'll be fun. Enjoy the little things.
That's right. What was your biggest takeaway from the pipeline, from the SF pipeline? Personally, I'll say.
Interacting with people.
Okay.
Proper interactions with people, because they prep you not just for interacting with indigenous personnel, but also people that from embassies or heads of state and things of that nature. So being able to interact well with people, I think, was one of my biggest takeaways from there.
Okay. Considering your personal strengths, which one do you give credit for successful completion?
I wouldn't. Okay, so here's the darndest part, right? Like Matt's got his own personal beliefs when it comes to this. Um, so I look at it and I say, all right, well, man's created in the image of God. This is my belief, right? So
Okay.
man's created in the image of God. All the skills and everything that I have is just what I've been given to do good in this life. Therefore, I'm not doing anything other than using my God-given gifts to get through all of that. I had a huge desire of not wanting to go back to the infantry, and I don't know if that was, being pushed in the right direction in order to do that, or if it was just something I don't know. But I
Yeah.
mean, I don't see any personal strength of mine being able to get through that other than just having a hard head and being like, this is what I'm supposed to do. Just having that knowledge and knowing
So
what
basically,
this is what I'm
you're on
gonna
the
do.
right path. You're just
Yeah,
following your path. Yeah.
yeah,
I had
yeah. I'm using the gifts that I have, not complaining, not better than you, not better than anybody else. I'm just using the gifts I was given and I'm having fun with it. You
cool.
know?
I like to ask that question, and I had a buddy on, Rick. He goes by Ranger Rick for anyone who wants to. He's a great dude. He comes on the show a lot, but he said he accidentally became a Green Beret. He just went into the pipeline. He came back from a deployment. He's like, okay, I'll do that, and he said every step he took just kind of got him closer, but it was never purposeful. It was like,
Right.
oh, and then he wound up as a Green Beret.
And he's like, what am
Yeah.
I doing? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I love that because he said even during the it was probably the qual course where you're doing land nav. He was like, you know what? Screw this, and he got up on the road and walked the rest of the way there, and then finished. No one got him. And he's
But he
like,
never got caught, right?
never
Yeah.
got caught. He's like, all right, I guess I'm going to the
Uh,
next. The next.
guess I'm supposed to keep going.
That's right. That's kind of
Yep.
funny. What were the notable differences? And you kind of answered that when a few minutes ago. But what were the notable differences between deploying as an infantryman and as a Green Beret?
Having the ability to make an impact on the battlefield,
Okay.
100%. And I think looking back at it, honestly, I think looking back at it, and I talk about like using my gifts and what I was supposed to be doing. Um, I think one of those gifts that I was given was the unique ability to be able to foresee a little bit
Hmm.
into what the enemy's battle plans were going to be and be able to affect change on the battlefield and to be able to lead guys on the battlefield so we didn't lose so many. And so probably one of the biggest differences is in the infantry, you're told, hey, this is where you're going and this is what you're doing. It doesn't matter, if you're a E7 or a E1, you're being told you're going over here and this is what you're doing. It's completely different on our side of the house to where you're given a chunk of it and told what end state it needs to be at. And it is your job to decide how to get to said end state if it's at all practical. And it's also your job to tell them if it's not practical, to tell them that they're being unreasonable, to tell them that you need more resources to shape that battlefield to get it to where you need it to be, and use any tool that you can imagine to get it there other than brunt force.
It's pretty
So,
liberating. It sounds like.
oh, it's huge. Absolutely, absolutely huge. Huge, huge, huge.
So the next question actually is very common. This isn't unique for special operations, but you're pushing your body to the limit.
Yep.
No, I don't think. I mean, unless you're doing finance or something, if you're in any of the operations community, at some point you're going to get hurt. And it sounds like I don't know the story, but you got hurt eventually. Tell us about
Dude,
that.
do you want me to start at my foot or do you want me to start at my head? Yeah,
So like
like,
it was all the way up.
pick a direction that you want me to start off, right?
Okay, so it was a bunch of things.
Right. So, yeah, well, going through pipelines, going through all this stuff, it's just going to tear your body up. Being in the infantry for a long time, it's going to tear your body up. Yeah, I spent a little over 4 years at war, and that within itself, you really start pushing your limits, and at that point, as long as you're staying after it and you're being proactive, I don't want to say something's bound to happen, but you're bound to make a mistake into which something will happen,
Hmm.
right? Like your probability of making a whoopsie gets a little bit bigger, and then you get more comfortable. I don't want to say complacent, but you get more comfortable with some of the risks that you start assuming because you have more knowledge and information. Um, so yeah, I assumed a couple of risks that maybe I probably shouldn't have, just being comfortable with knowledge and situations. And my spine's twisted a little bit more than it should be. My head's a little bit rattled every now and then. My head's a
Hmm.
little bit rattled. My left toe goes numb. People that watch my podcast know my eyeball likes to stick and twitch whenever it feels like it.
It just moves off.
Like, yeah, I mean, pick one. I'm pretty sure both my rotator cuffs are torn. I had a compression fracture in between my shoulder blades on my spine. So, I mean, it's just, yeah, pick an injury, my friend.
Yeah, 16 years. That's a lot of wear and tear.
Yeah, ibuprofen doesn't quite cut it.
Yeah. You need dry socks too, though. That's the other thing. So every career ends, whether it's 25 years or it's 2 years. I have a buddy that fell off one of the obstacles like 2 weeks into basic, shattered his femur. His career ended. When is the best time that you should prepare for the inevitable? That at one point, and I guess right now we're speaking to the active duty people, at one point your career is going to be over.
On active duty?
Mm-hmm.
Now.
Yeah.
Prepare for it now. You might think that you have a long, illustrious career ahead of you, but it is the military, and your risk of injury, believe it or not, it might not seem like it, is very high. And the drop of it, like, it could be over before you know it.
Sure.
I didn't see mine coming. I don't think most people see theirs coming, for that matter. And I think that's one of the reasons, like, we have, I've been looking into suicide a lot, when it comes. I'm tired of losing friends. I lost one a couple of weeks ago. I'm over it.
Sure.
And I think maybe what one of the things is that people are not prepared when it comes out, and they get scared, and it's an uncomfortable feeling. I know when I was going through it, Lord all knows what I would do, but also that whenever they do get out, they haven't looked forward on where they're going to go and how they're going to go about doing it. And they find themselves in this world, and they've detached from everybody else. And so making sure that you prepare not just for your military career, but also prepare yourself mentally, and making sure that you're going to have a plan to stay in touch with these people that you serve with, because it matters.
Absolutely.
Have a plan to be friends with, have a plan to make an impact, and know that regardless of whatever it is you do after you get out, you're never going to feel like you've ever, regardless of what I do with my career, I'm never going to feel like I was at that same level again, where I was affecting that many people and having that level. So make sure that when you're going to get out and when you're going to do those things, kind of have a plan in place, for your mental health as well as, work. And I would say mental health for work, make sure you're going to take care of yourself.
Mental health is key. That's stuff that you don't deal with, and people are often surprised. I was surprised with some of the issues I had, because you just don't expect them, and all you want to do is bury them and move on, and then they'll sneak up. I mean, the older you get, man. It really does. At the most random times. For me, it was driving into work, and then it just hit me like a ton of bricks. But yeah, that's definitely something you have to focus on. For you, I just realized we're over the 22 minutes. I don't care. We're pushing on. I'm an interviewer. It's what I do. I can't. Okay. It's so hard to cut it down. We'll have you on my podcast for a deep dive. We'll make you cry. That's what I like to do.
Yeah, I don't mind. I mean, I'm pretty secure in my manhood. I try to tell
people
this all the time. I'm like, I've got nothing to prove to anybody. Like, nothing. If I cry, I cry. Like,
right.
Who gives a shit? Like, we're men. That's what we do. Like, you're allowed to be a man. So
very good.
Yeah.
Right. I'll cry for you. Here we go. No, I'm just kidding. What is okay? So for you, day one, alarm goes off. You are now a civilian. What next?
I mean, I can tell you what I did. I can't tell you if it was the right answer or not, but I can tell you what I did.
No. I want to hear what you did.
So I decided to become a cop.
Okay.
Alarm went off, and I was like, what do I want to do? I actually got offered a job for, I want to say it was $170,000 a year, and I turned it down because
contracting?
I was going to be working in an office about a mile away from where I was living. Yeah, $170,000 a year, and I was like, I'm not going to be happy doing that, man. I can't see myself doing it. That mental health is important. Like, I'd be much.
It really is.
So I thought I'd try my hand at being a cop. So I dove into that. Yeah. And it seemed like a logical thing, like you always hear, like, law enforcement has a dark sense of humor. You have, like, commonalities. I mean, you get a gun, like, it's close, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
You didn't like it?
No, the cultures don't mesh. I don't think the culture for me, from where I came from and what I went into, I don't think those two cultures meshed. Um, I'd find myself getting in trouble for things that I didn't understand, like like catching a couple meth heads in an apartment, that had been broken in, and through a window, go in, I take them at gunpoint. I've got like 4 or 5 guys at gunpoint on the ground. I'm just kind of like holding it down. I'm like, yeah, if I can get some other units over here, I got like 5 dudes at gunpoint, prone out. I just need some guys over here to help cuff. And I was like, yeah, you guys don't have to come code 3. Just take your time. It's kind of like cold outside, some ice on the ground, maybe. You gotta have to get. Before I know it, dude, like there's just cars screaming in left and right, coming in, and like dudes are running upstairs, like they're invading freaking Ukraine. And yeah, they get they're like, dude, you can't be. What was the term for like everything's okay? It was code 4. They're like, you can't be code 4 at gunpoint. It's like, what are they gonna do? I point a gun at them.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the hell's the worst thing that's gonna happen? So it'd always be things like that I didn't like. The cultures didn't necessarily mesh. Yeah,
Did it, this always sounds like it could be douchey, but the people who say I couldn't do the military because I would have punched my drill sergeant or something like that.
sure.
I don't think, maybe at a younger age I could have done law enforcement, but after I had kids, I wouldn't trust myself around people that hurt kids, and it puts you in that situation where you might have to go to a scene where that's happening or that's happened. And I know right there, it just wouldn't be the job for me. Did you have to deal with any of that? How did you deal with it?
Woman beaters quite a bit. Um,
It's the
that
same thing. Yeah.
those guys piss me off
Yeah.
quite a bit. How'd I deal with it? I'd take a breath, and I mean it's a job,
Yeah.
and I always approach it calm and just taking a breath and be like, look, because at the end of the day, I always, at this point in my life, like I don't have anything to prove. The
Right.
same thing if I'm out. The same thing if I'm out at a bar and some guy wants to come up and pick a fight. I'll try to talk him off the ledge because I don't want to kill somebody, right?
Right.
So just be like, look, man, you try to go that route, um, but if they earn it, they earn it.
Sure.
I mean, yeah, and even then, like earning it, they earn it. My view is, if you earn an elbow to the jaw, you earn an elbow to the jaw, right? If that's my
Hmm.
option and that's the quickest one to get it up and over and done with, that's what you get. Um, Policing today doesn't really quite look at that. Like I can
Hmm.
beat the brakes off an Afghan for looking at me funny. If I
Hmm.
like he whatever
Yeah.
he hides under a blanket, I can put a bullet in him based on whatever intel we have at the time, right? Um, yeah, you can't do that here in America.
No,
It's not okay.
we have rules.
We have rules, we have a constitution, right? We have other things that we're supposed to follow, and so people like to push that limit. And to me, it's kind of fun just to stand there and let them do it because there's again, I have nothing to prove. I don't care. And then I
Sure.
ask them like, you try to flip the script and be like, okay, tell me what can I, like. Clearly, you're upset with me. Tell me what can I do to make you feel better? I work for you, by the way. Just throw it
It's
back on
true.
them. Just
Yeah.
throw it back on and be like, I work for you. What can I do to make you feel better, man? Like, what can I
Oof.
change?
Yeah. Dealing with the public, it takes, I mean, I technically do it in my day job, and it's you got to deal with all the different personalities, and
Right.
you got to put all the personalities that exist inside of you aside. What do you
Right.
do? What do you do for mental health?
Uh, Good question. So originally ignored it, right?
Hmm.
So originally
That's what you
ignored
do.
it. I have done my best to change it into helping other people out, to get through things that they're going through in life. So I like to think that nobody should have to learn their lessons the same way I did. And so I talked to quite a few people, whether it be followers that reach out to me on Instagram or people that I actually help out in life. Um, it just depends. Currently looking at starting a not looking at it currently, turning in the paperwork for a nonprofit organization to help out veterans, for peer-to-peer type counseling, because I wasn't able to actually get help until I met a psychologist who was a former Marine Corps infantry officer during the invasion of Iraq. And I was like, this dude got it. It wasn't like I was
Hmm.
talking to a psychologist. It was like I was talking to a peer. And
Yeah.
so being able to help those people out, that helps me out. Like, I feel like I get some stuff out of that, and I want to continue to do that. Mental health is huge, like the numerous podcasts I've been on, just talking to people about the different things that I've been through. And every time I get a message in my inbox that tells me that I've talked somebody off a ledge, that tells me that I still have more work to do and that I need to keep after it. So,
yeah, it's even just one. So many people ask me, they're like, I wanted to do a podcast, but the ocean is so big, full of shows. And it's like, it doesn't matter. If you can have a conversation with freaking 5 people, then do that, because you never know.
It's the starfish, man. It's the little girl on the beach throwing starfish in. That's all it is. Yep.
Awesome. Well, this has been 32 minutes. Where can folks find your podcast? I want to ask you all about the save and all that. Like I said, we'll deep dive on the 21 Gun podcast. But where do you want to drive people?
Well, okay. So if you want to see some of my bigger talks on mental health, you can go check out the Mentor for Military podcast with my name, Matt Tardio. I had a great discussion about that. If you just want to see some more political or funny podcasts, you can go over to the Speak the Truth podcast. You can find it on YouTube, Spotify, whatever. Go over and check those out.
I was doing my little research. I was watching your shows. Is your partner, is he prior military? What's his?
Yeah, I served with him in a sniper section of the infantry. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Excellent.
Yeah, I did 2 tours with that guy.
Very cool. Very cool.
That's another thing that's therapeutic, It's good
absolutely.
to be around friends. Yeah.
Yeah. And my guys might be watching right now. I have an EOD guy and a former, no, you can't say that. I'm sorry. Both Marines, one EOD. You can't say former. You say former. They get all pissy.
I say it all
it's
the
like
time. I got 2 brothers that are Marines. I don't give a shit. Like, you're both former Marines.
And here I am, the Air Force officer. It's like conducting an orchestra of pots and pans and rocks. And you can quote me on that. All right, brother. Hey, thanks for coming on. And I'll be in touch. We'll get you on. Be a lot of fun.
Awesome. Sounds like fun, man. I appreciate you. Have a
all
good
right,
night.
no worries. You take care.
All right. Bye.